Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to Remember 11, Age of Infinity. We're going to be doing the same as we did in the last episode, except this time we're going to be hunting down Satoru's bad endings, in the hopes that that's going to give us a little bit more context, because I still don't really understand the purpose of it all. Like, we did work out, or at least I think I worked out, the third identity is self, right? Based on the transmission, shows the name self, but I don't know who that refers to, or why, or any of that sort of stuff. So hopefully going through Satoru's ones will help. But like last time, I will cut here and I'll bring you back as things come to a head, you know, new stuff, because it's not that easy. Anyway, I'll be back. Okay, it's finally time for our first ending that we didn't get last time. Let's get murdered by the mysterious shadow. Reflexively, I kicked off the floor and launched myself toward the shadow. My actions may have caught it by surprise as it took a stance that revealed its bewilderment. This is my chance. If I can use this opening to disarm it, I grabbed for its right arm, but the moment I extended my arms, an unbearable pain ran through the left one. I'd forgotten about my injury. The overwhelming pain sent me staggering and I stumbled right into the direction of the silhouette. We fell in a tangle on the floor and the desperate struggle ensued, and soon a piercing pain ran through my abdomen. Hot, a burning hot pain. Instantly, nausea overcame me. I felt vomit well up in my throat. I voided a large quantity of something onto the floor. Was I stabbed? My vision blurred. My sense of balance disappeared. As if I were melting into the darkness, slowly I collapsed. Before long, the pain began to dull. My senses slowly ceased to operate and gradually I felt nothing at all. No. Within the darkness, I saw that shadow darker than the night with my own eyes. You're... Just before I could get the words out, the lips of the shadow obstructed mine. Long hair fell across my face. That was the last thing I ever saw. And now we're dead. You're looking at this list of endings for Satoru. I feel like they're not actually going to reveal anything. But I will do as many as I can get to. And we'll just see what happens. Alright, I'll cut here and I'll bring you back for the next one. Alrighty, Tony, it's time for another one. Also, I should mention that a bunch of these endings are based on having done endings on Kokoro's side, and even though I have done them for some reason, they're not triggering. So we're probably going to miss quite a lot this time. But anyway, for this one, I was thirsty too. I was actually thirsty too, I answered. I see, what a coincidence for both of us to get up so early for the same thing. When she turned around, she held two glasses in her hands. Won't you have a seat? As urged, I pulled out a chair. She made her way over to the fridge and opened the door. She took out a bottle of mineral water from inside. Come to think of it, something had occurred to me. Each of us has had a personal fridge in our rooms, and they all had mineral water in them too. There was no need for her to drag herself all the way to the kitchen just for a drink of water. She was obviously lying, but I'd known that the moment I saw her looking in the cupboard. You wanted a drink, right? She put the two glasses down on the table and poured water into each. Here. She placed one of the glasses in front of me. I told her I was thirsty too, so there's no way for me to refuse. I drank it all in one gulp. Gulp, gulp, gulp. I returned the empty glass to the tabletop. She watched me with upturned eyes as I drank. Her face was now veiled in shadow, so I couldn't see her eyes. She raised the glass to her lips, yet made no move to drink from it. She stood there frozen. Beyond the darkness that separated us, I could barely hear the faint sound of her breathing. Standing there wordlessly in the dark, she resembled nothing, as so much as a wraith that had wandered free of its earthly body. I couldn't feel the slightest warmth from her. What's wrong? I held my breath as I asked her. She moved the glass away from her lips, and without saying a word, she turned her hand and tipped it. The liquid inside made a splashing sound as it hit the floor, filling me with an icy dread. It can't be. Propelled into action by a sudden anxiety, I frantically patted my own body, in order to see if anything was wrong. How pitiful, she suddenly spoke. As she looked down, watching my floundering, immobile. A powerless human is so pitiful. What are you trying to say? In the end, you couldn't do a thing, could you? Panic rang out in my head like an alarm bell. The tips of my fingers began to tap out an unconscious rhythm on the table. Convulsions. I clenched my hands together to stop the spasms. I won't let anyone interfere with my plan. No one can stop me. I told you before, right? I don't remember hearing anything like that, but now wasn't the time to question her. I need to throw up that water right now. I sprang out of my chair, or at least I wanted to, but My body had adhered to the floor. My extremities were completely numb and were out of control. And it wasn't just my fingertips either. My lips, tongue, and even my eyelids wouldn't move. My head was heavy, like a stone clod had been driven into it. I had the sudden sense that I'd experienced this feeling before. However, I couldn't recall when and where anymore. Don't worry. I'm not planning to kill you. Her voice sounded far away. Little by little, it drifted even further. Trying to grab hold of that voice, I reached out with all my might. Goodbye, Yukido-kun. My consciousness was weakening, fading. And before long, I couldn't see anything. I floated to the bottom of a quagmire where no light would ever reach, my consciousness completely swallowed. That afternoon, I found the corpse of the slaughtered Hattori. Her ribs had been torn right through her flesh and her heart neatly gouged out. Beside her lay the corpse of Itsumi. She'd slit her wrists, taken her own life. In the palm of her hand she grasped a heart, so crushed that all semblance of its original form had been lost. It was Hattori's heart, and with one finger of her other hand she'd written something on the floor in blood. Just a single line. Where is self? Yuni sat in that sea of blood, muttering to himself like a madman. I have no idea what happened after that. I think several more transfers occurred, but that didn't matter anymore. At the mercy of something greater than I, my lost soul just wandered aimlessly through an empty world. And what happened to the 4 people at the shelter cabin after that? From the newspaper dated July 4th, 2011, the headline, 3 decomposed male and female corpses found on Mount Akakura had disappeared. Instead, it said that their bodies were discovered on January 17th along with those of the other passengers. So they didn't come back alive. That means that the 3 of them died on January 11th. I wonder if I'd just been dreaming this whole time. A nightmare without end. Now I'm in a white room. A pure white room without a single stain on its walls. On one wall there's a small window with bars across it. Outside I can see cherry blossoms as they flutter down and dance on the wind. An old man is walking down the road. Slowly he totters by. From the other direction comes a boy walking a dog. He shouts cheerfully as he runs, bathed in the sunlight filtering through the trees. I don't want to think anymore. Just gazing through the window at the world enclosed by this little square is enough for me. The cherry blossoms, the old man, the dog and the boy. I surrendered myself to the passage of time, content to be a spectator, without emotions nor self, with only the single viewpoint observing the transient world. Viewpoint. A point. With neither volume nor mass. I was a hollow existence. Suddenly I heard a voice from the other side of the door. Inamoto-san? Inamoto Naoya-san? It's time for your medicine. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god, that ending was way more important than I realized. Holy shit, what? So Yukido... No, what? Oh man. Alright, I'll bring you back. Alright, well, I've been unable to get any of the other endings to trigger, even jumping back into Kokoro's and getting like the Mayuzumi Annihilation ending and then jumping back into Satoru's to trigger it. It's still not triggering. I don't know how to make it trigger, so this is going to be a very short episode, but I feel like I have to do it because that one ending we did get was super crazy, man. Super crazy. So yeah, probably a 5-minute episode, but if you know how to make the get an ending and then it triggers another endings to work, please tell me, because I cannot figure it out. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It's like the day 7 ending in Kokoro's, the abandonment or whatever when everyone's gone, that triggered. You get that after getting Yukido's plan failure at the end of Yukido's route, and that wasn't the last ending I got before that, but it's still triggered. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but I'm not too sure how to make it consistently trigger them when I want them to, because most of Satoru's ones require an ending on Kokoro's side first. One of the day 2 endings, 3 of the day 4 endings, the 3 day 5 endings all require an ending on Kokoro's side, and even when I jump back and do those endings, because I've done them before, and come back and then try and trigger them on Satoru's side, it isn't working. Sorry, I don't know. Shit. Let me know if you know how to trigger it, but otherwise I'm going to start another series for now without knowing everything. Still, it was a good time while it lasted, in case I don't do another episode. I still rate it ever 17 higher, personally. Maybe Maybe I'm in the minority there. Maybe that was a really controversial thing to say. I don't know. But yeah, I think Ever 17 was better, personally. Not to say I didn't like it. It was good. It was good. It's just Ever 17 was better. Anyway, thanks for watching, Bruce. Sorry, and I'll see you in the next one.